Thank you, everyone, for being here this evening. It is Monday, September 19th. This is the Addison County Democratic Committee. My name is Dave Silverman. I am the Vice Chair of the Democratic Committee. With us tonight, we have two candidates for Sheriff of Addison County who have come to the committee requesting the committee's support. We have with us Deputy Michael Elmore, current Deputy in charge of the Addison County
Master Thomas.
Sheriff.
You should say
Mute, please. And also with us, Michael is the deputy in charge of the Addison County Sheriff's Department. And Mark Stacy, who's with us, is a police officer in the Virgins Police Department. Welcome, Michael and Mark. We will start by allowing you each 2 minutes to make an opening statement to introduce yourself to the committee. I will then ask you a series of questions, and you will each have 2 minutes to answer each question. Folks in the audience who have questions, please put them in the chat. I will be monitoring, and time permitting, I will ask additional questions in addition to the ones that I have prepared. Starting in alphabetical order, Mike Elmore, please introduce yourself. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Dave. My name is Mike Elmore. I'm obviously running for sheriff. I grew up in the Middlebury area. I was born in Middlebury, raised in Middlebury, went to Middlebury Union High School. I graduated in 2012 from the high school, and then I attended Bob Jones University in Greenville, South Carolina, where I got a bachelor's of science in criminal justice. After that, I was hired by the Addison County Sheriff's Department, where I attended the part-time basic class at the police academy and got my certification in 2017. After some time on the road and some training in 2018, I went to the full-time academy, which was a 16-week paramilitary type training, where I received that certification. It just allows me to do a bit more than that part-time certification. And I've been working on the road since then. I've been promoted to sergeant, so I'm a supervisor at the Sheriff's Department right now, where I run kind of the day-to-day operations. I help oversee the way the office runs and supervise the guys on the road, just to make sure everything runs smoothly. And with everything going on at the Sheriff's Department right now, I'm kind of the interim person in charge, so to speak, while until the election, at least. I received the GI award when I was at the academy. That was given to the person who displayed a level of honesty and integrity while there. And then I was also awarded the Officer of the Year in 2020 for Addison County through the American Legion as well.
Thank you, Michael. Right on time. Mark, your 2 minutes. Please go ahead.
My name is Mark Stacy. Obviously, I'm running for the Addison County Sheriffs. I started in law enforcement in 2001. 2001. Attending the part-time academy, and I worked for the Addison County Sheriff's Department up until 2015 or so. Yeah, about 2015, 14. I went full-time with them right around that area. And then I moved on to the Virgins, where I'm the highway safety coordinator for Addison County. What that entails is working with other agencies and so forth like that, trying to prevent highway safety deaths and so forth like that. I'm trained in de-escalation, verbal judo, active shooter, advanced intervention training, and I facilitate safe driving courses for offenders. Also, part of my I work for part of my pay is paid by NHTSA, okay, for the highway safety, and then I also do regular shifts Jens. One of my things that I really enjoy doing is like I said, working with other agencies and so forth. I believe in the goal for police departments to prevent crimes. It's not catching criminals, but to stop the crime before it happens. And we don't have to punish citizens or suppress their rights. In effect, the police department doesn't have high arrest stats. The community has low crime rate, and communities have low crime rates. They just don't. Okay, and that's kind of my thing. And the key to prevent crime is earn public support. Okay, once you have your public support, they'll actually work with you in helping you prevent crime. And the police needs to earn public support by respecting community principles.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mark. Thank you both for being here again. I appreciate it. The committee appreciates it. Our first question, the role of the sheriff's office. So the sheriff's office, many folks don't know, derives from medieval England and has been part of Vermont's legal landscape for over 200 years. But to no one's surprise, over these many centuries, society's law enforcement needs have changed drastically. In your view, what is the appropriate role for the sheriff in Addison County's 21st century society? Mark, you first.
I think right now, as the sheriff's department has undergone some things that, unfortunate things, I would say. I think it's starting out as it's almost like a rebuild or a reset, maybe you might want to say. First of all, it should be a supporting role to other agencies right now, and if need be, the very first one on the scene too. If they're in the area, because our resources in this county are very short-handed here. Okay, between the state police, Middlebury, Virgins, everybody's pretty short-handed. So I think eventually would like to see the sheriff's department, if they could take a lead in some cases when they're in the area, that'd be great. And that will require training and so forth like that. A lot of training at that. And a reset with the deputies that work there as far as reevaluating them and so forth like that, and see if it's conducive to have them working there.
Thank you, Mark. Mike, same question to you.
So the sheriff's department itself is contract based. Everything that we do has to be, we're getting the money from somewhere. So what our role is, kind of to echo Mark, it usually is that supporting, we're supporting in some way. We're not really funded to be a primary response agency at this point. And really what I see our role as is being able to be that backup officer that can come and help out the state police, the other area police departments, and then whatever services are needed for security. A lot of times police departments, especially with it being so short-staffed, kind of like Mark was saying, police departments, state police can't really necessarily go out and do the security details that come up in some towns. And that's something that we can do. We typically have the staff to do details like that. And the roadside construction details, historically, that's just kind of what sheriff's departments have been, is that the agency that does the police work that maybe not necessarily everyone wants to do, but is a necessary part of policing here in Vermont. And that's just kind of what the sheriff's department's role ends up being. Down the road, I wouldn't mind having it be more of a primary response agency. It's just a matter of where do we get the funding from for that. And the town contracts that we have right now can help towards that. We just would need to negotiate and talk with the towns and expand into that role with them.
Thank you. Next question. In just the couple of months since the Supreme Court authorized states to criminalize abortion, we have already seen county sheriffs, especially in southern states, arresting women for seeking abortion care. You are running for a term of office ending in 2027. In 2024, Republicans could regain control of both Congress and the presidency, and have promised that if they do so, they will ban abortion nationwide. My question to you is, can Addison County residents count on you as sheriff to protect a woman's right to access abortion care in Vermont, no matter what? And more specifically, will you refuse to assist the federal government or any other state in investigating, arresting, or prosecuting a woman for accessing abortion service or a healthcare provider for providing those services? Mike, you first.
Well, from my understanding, abortion is written into the Vermont Constitution now. In my role, if I were to become sheriff, is to uphold the Constitution of Vermont as well. And if it's not a criminal violation in Vermont, it's not my duty to go after federal crimes if they're not also a crime in the state of Vermont. So I don't see the sheriff's department's role being to go after the abortion if the Republicans were to regain control and to pass laws that would in turn make abortion illegal throughout the United States. I don't see that as the sheriff's department's role to go and prosecute, arrest women, doctors, however it is, for violating the law that the Republicans pass at that point.
Thank you. Mark, same question to you.
As a pro-choice person, I would follow the Vermont Constitution, which obviously is legal in Vermont right now. And I just can't, I have to agree with Mike on this one. I just can't see myself ordering my people, if ever it came to being illegal, ordering my people. I don't think it's our role. And I do not believe in it at all.
Thank you. The next question is about racial profiling. The Addison County Sheriff's Department has been found by a UVM professor's study to pull over Black drivers at a rate exceeding their share of the county population by about 40%. And the Virginia's Police Department is even worse, pulling Black drivers over at a rate of almost double their share of the county population. Once pulled over, both agencies also search Black drivers at far higher rates than they search white drivers who've been pulled over. My question to you is in two parts. First, in your view, is this a problem? And second, if so, what do you intend to do about it as sheriff? Mark, you're first this time.
Right now, I think Stephanie Squino came out with a report that we're just recently, and somebody may correct me if I'm wrong, that the departments are getting better about it and so forth like that, and are doing much better. But I would be reviewing videos. I'd be looking at the reason for the stops, so forth like that. I'd be definitely in-car videos and body camera videos. I'd be reviewing them on a very regular basis, just to see if there is any bias there. Bias training will be major. I mean, we do bias training in Virgins now. I mean, it's we take it very seriously and so forth like that. We took that report very seriously. And we just had an IACP report done where they found that we were not racist. And it's coming out this Thursday at a meeting in Virgins where they're going to demonstrate that to us and to the public, obviously. So I would, if it was found that we were being biased, or that we continue to with that trend, I would be seriously looking at the videos and so forth like that, and in the body cam videos, and make sure there was probable cause for the stops.
Thank you, Mark. Same question to you, Michael.
The statistics, I think, are eye-opening to some of the issues that face law enforcement today. And the public eye is definitely on the sheriff's department, the state police, the police departments around the state, to be different than the rest of the country as far as how we treat minorities and people of different races and cultures. In my time at the sheriff's department, I haven't seen anything that we've done that has discriminated against anyone. I'm not sure the statistics that you're quoting, Dave, and it could be older, it could be more recent, I'm not sure. But I know that we definitely take racial profiling seriously, and it's not something that we want to reflect that it's something that we're doing at the Addison County Sheriff's Department. We want to treat everyone equally. We want to make sure that everyone feels safe when they do get stopped by us, that their rights are being protected. And we do go to trainings. We have state mandated trainings as well, which I know when I've gone through them, they've been eye-opening just to see that different perspective. Because in Vermont, we don't, especially in Addison County, we don't really have a lot of minorities that we can interact with and just get to know. And just hearing from them about how police interactions go, I think is definitely key to being different and being able to change the way that we police. So just being able to have more of those trainings and being able to talk to minorities and people of different cultures, I think is really key to being able to do our job to the best of our ability when it comes to dealing with the other races and cultures.
Thank you. Sorry, that's time. The answers have been generally quick, so I'm going to follow up on this one. So, what I'm hearing from you is that both of you, is that your departments are taking these matters seriously, and that neither of you want to see racial disparities in the outcomes of your police work. But yet, these disparities exist. The data show them. As Mark said, the data has shown a start to an improvement, but it hasn't solved the problem. So tell me, in your view, why is it that both the Virginia's PD and the Addison County Sheriff's Department are pulling Black drivers over at a far greater rate, and then also searching Black drivers who've been pulled over? And you're there at the car side, you know who they are, and you search them at 2 or 3 times the rate that you search white drivers. Why is that happening? Mark?
I believe that in Virgins, one of the things that we have is we have a card, a drug card that is 22A that comes up from New York. Most it is a card that people come from New York, they drive up and go up to Burlington, and Route 7 is not quite as bad, but 22A is a bad corridor for transporting drugs. But on the other hand, I don't think that they should be being searched more than white drivers by any means, unless there's severe probable cause. And so that needs to be addressed. That definitely needs to be addressed. Having a Black granddaughter that I'm raising, I don't want her to feel like that either. I just want all people are created equal as far as I'm concerned. So, and they should be treated equally. So that it needs to be looked at very seriously and continued, and the improvement needs to continue.
Thanks, Mark. And Mike, why is this disparity happening in the Addison County Sheriff's Department?
Again, I'm not sure when these statistics came out that you're referencing. I just know in my time at the Sheriff's Department in the past 5 years, I'm struggling to think of a time where a driver was pulled out and searched of a different race, of a minority. It's just not something that we do too often at the Sheriff's Department. And it could be if we're doing it once with a minority, and we've only done in the past 5 years 3 searches pulling someone out of a car, then that'll give a 33% rate to the times that we're searching someone, then they're a minority. But again, I can't really think of really too many times that we've pulled someone out of the car and done any sort of search. It's usually because of an arrest, either because of the violation that occurred or something, or a warrant, something like that. But we're not going into cars. We're not out there trying to be the proactive getting into cars when there's no really need to. And I can't really point to any particular reason why the statistics show that. Addison County is definitely a pass-through county, so to speak. There's not too many people coming from outside the county to come to work. It's more of this is a home county for people, and then they go to other places, or they're just passing through. That could be a reason why minorities get pulled over in Addison County. It's hard, as a police officer, it's hard to say what a person's race or culture is when they're speeding at us 40, 50 miles an hour, and all we can tell is the violation that it's occurring, not necessarily who they are or what they look like. So I can't point to a reason why it's occurring at this point.
Thank you. We're going to move on to the next topic. I appreciate your candor in answering these questions. I know they are difficult, intentionally so. Mental health. This past May, the Addison Independent reported that mental health crisis calls to police agencies in the county have surged, especially in the last 5 years. What changes will you make to the Addison County Sheriff's Department staffing and practices to not only protect public safety, but also protect the legal rights and serve the acute needs of those experiencing mental health crisis? Mike, you're first this time.
Well, I've definitely noticed in my interactions that there has been definitely an increase of people experiencing mental health crises, and I think there definitely needs to be a solution of some sort as to what is happening. Why are people experiencing mental health crises more? And when it comes to our interactions with them, there's definitely a level of training that's needed, and then possibly even bring someone onto the staff that can assist us with dealing with people going through this. The state police have definitely set a model in a sense of bringing someone onto their agencies. I know there's a mental health counselor that's assigned to the New Haven barracks that when needed can assist the state police with calls that involve someone experiencing a crisis of some sort. And that person's available to other agencies as well. So for the time being, we can use that resource there at the barracks if needed. And just getting training for the deputies of how to handle a situation like that, not escalating it, going through the de-escalation tactics, and just trying to understand what the person's going through, I think is key to being able to help the person and not make it more of a crisis for them, but being able to, because as the first responder, a lot of times we're walking into a situation we don't always know what's going on. So just having some tools in our tool belt going through the training would help us to be able to handle that situation better.
Thank you. Mark?
There's a couple of different things that I would like to see happen if I was at the Addison County Sheriff's Department, or what we do now. We work with a trainer. It's called verbal judo. Okay. And what happens is it's a way of de-escalating the person, bringing them down, getting them, calming them down. And it work. It's a fabulous training. It's out of this world. I think it's worked so well for me, and I've actually gotten a couple of awards for de-escalation on mental health situations. We also work with Turning Point, and Turning Point is an outfit that works with mental health and drug issues and so forth like that. And we actually carry an iPad with us, where we can even set the person up with a counselor. Okay, and then when they can actually talk to the person, they can actually take the iPad and walk away from you, okay, and talk to a counselor and right to the iPad. It's an excellent program, really good program. I've used it too. So de-escalation is really key in with verbal judo, Turning Point. There is a mental health counselor at the barracks that and I think he's very good too. I have yet to had to use him because look, I've been pretty lucky in dealing with any kind of mental health crisis or drug crisis that causes mental health problems. And I've been able to de-escalate. I've got 21 years in doing all this kind of stuff, and I've never gone hands-on with a person yet, except to handcuff them, okay, you know, if it's a crime or something like that. But I've never really had to go hands-on with anybody at all, and I'm lucky, you know.
Thank you.
It's not all skill, but it's luck too.
Thank you. The next topic is drugs. Thanks for bringing it up. Should anyone ever be arrested or jailed for possessing, not selling, possessing drugs for their own personal use? If your answer is yes, please explain in what way you think arresting drug users helps drug users or society at large. Mark, you're first on this.
My personal thought on that is no. They're small level offenders. I would try to what I'd rather see happen, if possible, is get them the help they need. Get them pointed towards Turning Point and so forth like that. But it also depends on the amount of drugs that they have on them too. Of course, if it's intended to distribute, then we have an issue. Okay, but otherwise, if it's just for personal use and so forth like that, I'm not a big fan of that. It just exacerbates the problem, I think, even more. It's not helping the person at all. Okay, and I think you know, we have in our country we have over 2.1 million people incarcerated right now. That's the most in the whole world. Okay, and it's a sad stat. Okay, for the amount of people we have in the country, and where China has 1.7 million and they have over 1 billion people in their country. We have 380 million people in our country, or so, give or take. So I think you know, people being put in jail for small level offenses like that, it's not helping them at all.
Thank you. Mike?
Short answer is no. I don't believe that it really, in the long term, is going to help someone that is addicted to drugs. The drugs, it's more just, it's not the root issue. People, when they're using drugs to escape whatever problems that they're having, whether it's some issue in life or just whatever it is that they're using the drugs to escape from, that's really the real issue. And the addiction is kind of the effect of that. And putting someone in jail because they're addicted to something isn't going to solve it. A lot of times people are going to end up coming out of jail and they're still addicted. They're still going through whatever issue it is that they're having, and going to jail hasn't addressed that issue. Yes, it's a crime to, at this point, to have drugs for the illegal drugs for personal use. But that doesn't mean that that person has to go to jail. They need help, and there needs to be something in place to help the people, and not just send them to jail and hope that they're magically cured while they're there. There's a root issue, and the people need help, not jail. And
Thank you. I look forward to inviting whichever one of you two ends up winning the office up to Montpelier to testify on this issue next January. We have a bill. My last question is about town services. The Sheriff's Department contracts to provide patrol services to about half the towns in the county right now. In my discussions with town select board members over the last couple of months, I've learned that many of these services, that the majority of these services consists of fixed point speed enforcement, what folks affectionately call speed traps. I've also learned that some select boards have asked, with no success, to reduce speed enforcement in favor of a more proactive community policing style engagement. In your view, how can the ACSD best serve its contracting towns? What, if anything, would you do differently in this regard versus current practices? This question is to Mike first.
in my experience dealing with towns and working under the contracts, a lot of towns, so in a broad overview of the contracts is the wording in them is for police services, and each town typically has a different view of what that means. A lot of what we do under those contracts, though, is the speed enforcement, the traffic violations, patrolling the towns for a set number of hours each month. And the towns should be able to dictate what we do for them, because we are working for the towns, and it should be up to them what we do, what roads we're on, what we're doing, whether it is patrol, whether it's focusing more on burglaries, whatever the town wants us to do, it should be up to them. If it is more of a community policing, proactive outlook on speed enforcement, I know since the pandemic, a lot of towns have come to us complaining about speeders on back roads, and the number of accidents, I think, has definitely showed that there is a speeding problem around the state as well. And so it is a part of what we do. It's not always the fun part of what we do, going out there and writing tickets, but it is a necessary part. And the outlook that we have on it should be focused on how we can serve the community and make it a better place to live and to work, by being able to keep it safe. Because when we're at home here in Addison County, we want to be able to feel like we're safe, that we can walk across the road and check our mail without wondering if someone's going to come speeding down the road. And a lot of that just goes back to education too, helping people understand that it's not just the ticket they're getting, but potentially saving lives as well.
Thank you. And Mark, same question to you.
If I do happen to assume the office, I would go to each town, and I would actually sit with the select board members and so forth like that, and see exactly what they want and what kind of services they want. If they want community policing and so forth like that, more education. So that's what I would provide that. And there are, we do have a fatality problem in the state right now. That is where it's off the charts right now, and it's in the majority of it's due to speed and impaired driving. Okay, so I would I would try to balance that out with the towns and say, listen, you know, and if they want more speed enforcement because they're having a problem, great. We'll you know, we'd do that for them. They want more community. We're more active with, you know, talking with people, stopping and shooting the breeze with people. That's what we would be doing, and we should be doing that anyway, despite if we are doing speed enforcement. I mean, you're talking to people, being friendly, being approachable, okay? Because, you know, if you earn the public support, okay, the community starts to really respect you, okay? And as we all know, you know, policing today in the last few years has lost a lot of respect, and that bothers me a lot because you know, it's just like any profession, you're going to have some bad apples there, and I believe that you try to weed out the bad apples, and you get good people that are, you know, community oriented and talking to people. People love to talk, you know, and feel like, you know, you care about them. So that's what I would do.
Thank you. We are out of time, so this concludes our forum among two of the candidates for Addison County Sheriff. Thank you both for participating.